Okay. Okay, hands up anybody who already has that policy that people can choose their managers. Anybody? Who already works in the company where you could choose your manager? No one? No. Okay, who thinks it's a good idea? Who's going to try it out? Okay, any thoughts or questions? Any reasons?
I think the practicality, we just have the practicality, like the idea, but if I'm running the sales department, we've got Pat is running engineering, how am I going to manage these engineering staff? And they all like me because Al's, I want Al to be managed, he seems to be great old lad, so they've got 20 people that I've got to manage in an area that I really don't know an awful lot, nuts and bolts, and more about. So just the practicality, like it, but how practically.
That's a very interesting question. First thing is, can you manage people who you know nothing about what they do? Yeah? If the manager's a coach, the answer is yes. Some people will say, I want to be managed by somebody, I'm a coder, I want a software expert. But others will say, I just want the right person to support and develop me. What it does, there is a little change you need in your organisation. There's a problem in most organisations, and that the only way to get promoted is to end up managing people. Yeah? Is that true in your organisation? I'll just give you a little example. Excuse me, I'll go past that one. Hang on. This is a company called Cougar. If you're wondering what's going on in the picture, do you have things like bring your daughter to work day in Ireland? Yeah? Do you, or even...
You get her to do the work.
You'd get fired when you brought your kids to work.
But the idea is you have a bring your daughter to work day so they get to see what the potential is. It isn't every day, but anyway. Some people even have a bring your cat to work day or bring your dog, but this is a bring yourself to work day. So they've all brought their something about themselves to work. Anyway, Cougar are a software coding company. They send some project managers on a course with us in managing people. And at the end of the day, 4 of them came to our trainer and said, love the course, great, well taught, but it's made us realise we don't want to manage people, and we're going to go back and tell Clive we don't want to manage people. Now, we were a bit worried because Clive had paid for the course, right? But actually, Clive was delighted because he didn't think they were any good at managing people and hadn't found a way to tell them. So they said, instead, we're going to set up a system as coders, based on judo. So you can be I don't quite know how the colours work, but green, yellow, brown, blue, black belt coder, and never manage anybody. So now if you join Cougar as a coder, you can think, well, I could end up managing people, or I could become a black belt coder. Yeah? Imagine if in your organisation, all those people who are great at their core jobs, but no good at managing people, never got to manage people. Simply by setting up that change. Make sense? Yeah? And you know who's often happiest by that change? You've got a manager who's no good at managing, you've got staff who are not enjoying being managed by them, and you allow them to not manage people. Who's the happiest? Often that manager is absolutely delighted to be able to do their core job. So at Happy, we've separated the strategy positions from the management positions. So we have a head of training who is brilliant at strategically working out the market, what's going on, what new products, all these kind of things, but doesn't manage anybody at all. Each trainer chooses somebody to coach them and develop them and support them. So does that answer, that's how structurally it works? Yeah? Any other questions on the idea of choosing your managers?
So we have a situation in one of our companies, so we've got 300 people in, right, and it's only a year old. We're starting to promote people, type of thing. A lot of the people we're promoting aren't good managers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you have your own staff choosing people they think should manage, they won't necessarily pick the right people to manage. They might pick the high performer or whatever, but they won't necessarily, I think, pick the best manager.
Try it and see. Do we always pick the best manager?
No.
The staff may not pick the best strategic thinker because that isn't what they're choosing them for. They're choosing who will... Remember, what they're actually choosing is a coach. They're choosing the person who they think can best support them and develop them over the next year or next 2 years or whatever. They may change after a while. So we're trusting, this is theory Y, we're trusting people to think it's best. We're not the only company who does it. Have you heard of W.L. Gore? Have you heard of W.L. Gore? Yes. You will have heard of their product, Gore-Tex. Who's heard of Gore-Tex? Yeah? They're one of the most innovative and successful companies on the planet. And they were set up in early 1960s by Bill Gore to test if Theory Y could work. Remember, McGregor said nobody runs their organizations by Theory Y, or didn't then. It was set up to test that. So at Gore, they're more radical than us. At Happy, you have to choose someone who is a manager or a coach. At Gore, you can choose anybody you like to be your coach. They can have just joined the company last week, whoever you want. And they've built an amazing company with that kind of principle. Earlier I showed you, hang on, that's one of our clients, little company based in Cheltenham. Who knows who that is? It's GCHQ. They do all the intelligence gathering in Britain. They are a hierarchical, they have been a hierarchical organisation staffed by techies, right? You get in there if you have a PhD in maths and that kind of thing, okay? If you say, are they the most likely place to implement Theory Y ideas? I would probably say no. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples from there because they're, as I say, they're one of our clients, and they have now in 2 divisions are having people choose their managers. In the middle of a public sector hierarchical organisation. And another example from GCHQ. Let's say you sit down with a member of staff, you set targets for the year. Who should set the targets? The manager or the individual?
The individual with guidance.
Okay, you say the individual. Does everybody agree, the individual? Both over here? Let me ask you a couple of questions. According to all research, who sets tougher targets? The manager or the individual?
The individual.
When are they more likely to be achieved? When the manager sets them or the individual? So I'll give you an example from GCHQ. The director of IT was speaking at a conference recently I was at, and he said, at GCHQ, nobody has laptops because it's tight security. So to get a laptop, you used to have to give 2 weeks' notice. You're going away somewhere, you had to give 2 weeks' notice, right? Director of IT thought this isn't really very good because, you know, you don't always have 2 weeks' notice that you're going away. So let's change that. And he said, and he was about to set the target, but he'd read my book, The Happy Manifesto, and said, okay, that says we should let people set their targets. Well, I was going to set a day. I wonder what they'll set. He got people to set their target. What do you think they set as the target for getting a laptop out? 2 weeks at the moment. He had in his mind a day. What do you think they set?
48 hours.
48 hours over here. Any others? Anybody? Well, they set 5 minutes. Okay. They set 5 minutes. They achieved it. They reset it to 3 minutes. They achieved that. You can now get a laptop out, which used to take 2 weeks, in 1 minute at GCHQ. And it's not simple things. There's a lot of security settings, a lot of checks have to be done, a lot of stuff like that. But the key point is the director was going to set 1 day. And then the people wouldn't have owned it. They wouldn't have thought this is our target. They set themselves a really ambitious target and they achieved it because it was their target and they really focused on how to get it. So, last discussion at your table before I move on is what would happen if you got people to set their own targets? Now, for it to work, they have to be engaged. They have to be really wanting to do well. If you've got a workplace where everyone's pissed off and alienated, it probably won't work. But if you've got a workplace where people are engaged and really in charge of their job, are pre-approved for things and have a sense of trust, it could work very well indeed.